The average American bathroom cabinet holds somewhere between 10 and 15 different skincare products. Creams for this, serums for that, one bottle for morning and another for night. Yet for generations, Amish women across Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Indiana have kept their skins soft, healed, and healthy with a single handmade salve, mixed in a cast iron pot and stored in a small tin. If the idea of simplifying everything down to one honest, effective remedy appeals to you, consider subscribing to this channel, because this is exactly the kind of forgotten knowledge we bring back every week. The Amish approach to self-sufficiency is not a trend or a marketing concept. It is a lived philosophy passed from grandmother to granddaughter, season by season, without interruption. In communities where a trip to a pharmacy is a deliberate journey and commercial products are viewed with quiet skepticism, the knowledge of how to care for the body using what the land provides has never been abandoned. In Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, where Amish settlements date back to the 1730s, and in the Holmes County region of Ohio, home to the largest Amish population in the world, with more than 35,000 members, these recipes have moved quietly from one generation to the next for nearly 3 centuries. Skin, in the Amish view, is not something to be treated with chemicals whose names require a chemistry degree to pronounce. It is living tissue that responds to living ingredients. Tallow rendered from grass-fed cattle, beeswax harvested from community hives, plant-based oils pressed from seeds, and nuts and herbs gathered from kitchen gardens and wild meadows. These are the building blocks of a skincare tradition that predates every department store beauty counter by several centuries. The knowledge is practical, not precious. It was kept alive not because it was quaint, but because it worked. The foundation of most traditional Amish skin salves begins with 2 ingredients that modern skincare has largely abandoned. The first is tallow, which is rendered beef fat, typically sourced from grass-fed animals. The fatty acid profile of tallow closely resembles the natural sebum that human skin produces on its own, sharing key components like oleic acid, palmitic acid, and stearic acid in proportions remarkably similar to our own. This similarity means the skin absorbs it readily, rather than sitting on top like many synthetic creams do. The second foundational ingredient is beeswax, which creates a breathable barrier on the skin's surface, locking in moisture without suffocating the pores. Together, tallow and beeswax form the base that carries everything else. The herbal additions are where the salve gains its reputation. Calendula, the bright orange flower long used in European and American folk medicine since at least the 12th century, contributes anti-inflammatory compounds that calm irritated and sensitive skin. Comfrey leaf, sometimes called knitbone in older texts, contains allantoin, a naturally occurring compound associated with cell regeneration and the healing of damaged tissue. Plantain, not the banana-like fruit but the common low-growing leaf found in nearly every backyard, has been used for centuries to draw out irritants, soothe insect stings, and speed the healing of minor cuts and abrasions. Some recipes add a small measure of lavender for its mild antiseptic qualities and its calming effect on inflamed skin. Others incorporate chickweed, a soft, cool herb traditionally applied to eczema and itchy rashes. Every ingredient earns its place. Making the salve is straightforward, and the process itself has changed very little over generations. The dried herbs are first steeped in a carrier oil, typically olive oil or a similar plant-based oil, over very low heat for several hours. This slow infusion draws the active compounds out of the plant material and into the oil. The herbs are then strained away, and the infused oil is combined with melted beeswax in measured proportions, often 1 part beeswax to 4 parts infused oil by weight. Tallow, if used, is melted separately and blended in at this stage. The mixture is poured into small tins or glass jars while still liquid and allowed to set at room temperature. The result is a salve with a smooth, firm consistency that softens on contact with skin warmth. No preservatives are needed because beeswax and tallow are naturally shelf-stable, and the herbs themselves offer mild antimicrobial properties. A well-made tin, kept in a cool, dry place, will remain effective for well over a year. If you are still with us at this point in the video, we would love to know where you are watching from. Drop a comment below and let us know your city or state. It is always remarkable to see how far this kind of old knowledge still resonates. The range of conditions this salve addresses is what gives it the right to its reputation as a replacement for an entire cabinet of products. For dry, cracked heels and hands, especially the kind of deep cracking that comes with age and cold weather, a small amount worked into the skin before sleep and covered overnight with cotton socks or gloves can produce visible improvement within a few days. For chapped lips, it outperforms most commercial balms because it actually nourishes rather than simply coating. For minor burns from a kitchen stove or garden scrapes that refuse to settle down, the combination of calendula and comfrey creates conditions for the skin to rebuild itself calmly and quickly. For the persistent dry patches and mild irritation that many people over 50 experience around the eyes, on the elbows, and along the shins, the salve provides relief without the fragrance, alcohol, or parabens that often make drugstore products counterproductive for sensitive aging skin. There is also the question of what the salve does not contain. No synthetic fragrance, no petroleum derivatives like the mineral oil and paraffin found in countless drugstore lotions, no emulsifiers, thickeners or stabilizers added to extend shelf life or improve the appearance of the product in a jar on a shelf. The Amish were not making salve to sell it in glossy packaging. They were making it to use it, and that distinction shaped every choice in the recipe. When a remedy has no marketing budget and no shelf life optimization pressure, it gets built entirely around whether it actually helps the person using it. For anyone over 50 who has noticed that their skin behaves differently than it did in their 30s or 40s, that it dries faster, heals more slowly, and reacts more strongly to harsh ingredients, this salve offers something that most modern products quietly ignore. After age 50, sebum production drops by as much as 60%, and the skin's ability to retain water declines sharply, which is why familiar lotions suddenly stop working. Aging skin needs fat-soluble nutrition delivered in a form that resembles its own biology. It needs barrier protection that breathes. It needs botanical compounds that communicate with skin cells in a language older than any laboratory formulation. The Amish, without ever framing it in those clinical terms, arrived at exactly that combination through generations of quiet observation and practical refinement. When you hold a small tin of this salve, there is something that goes beyond its usefulness. It represents a kind of knowledge that survived not because it was written down in academic journals, but because it was handed across a kitchen table from one woman to another. The simplicity of it is not a limitation, it is a statement. A statement that the skin does not need a 12-step routine or a shelf full of competing promises. It needs a few honest ingredients mixed with care, applied with intention. That is the old Amish answer to the question modern skincare has spent decades overcomplicating. And after all this time, it still holds up.